Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Southampton Town Board to order on this 24th day of April, 2018. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could remain standing, as we traditionally do, we'll join together for a brief moment of silence as we keep in our thoughts and prayers all of the men and women in the uniform of our armed services who bravely defend our freedoms around the world. Let's join together in silence. Okay, please be seated. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman Lofstad.
Here.
Councilwoman Scalera.
Here.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scavone.
Here.
All right, let me start by making a motion to approve the minutes of the regular town board meeting of April 10th and the special town board meeting of April 19th, 2018.
So moved.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
The following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the Department of the Army, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, New York District permit applications for Ocean View Drive, Southampton, Harry's Lane, Noyak, and the Quogue Canal, Village of Quogue. Suffolk County Department of Economic Development and Planning, Suffolk County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board, meeting notice to consider parcels for inclusion into agricultural district, April 26, 2018, 5 p.m. at 423 Griffin Avenue, Riverhead, New York. Suffolk County Shellfish Aquaculture Lease Program for Peconic and Gardner's Bay, and public notices for the 2018 lease site applications. Town of East Hampton, public hearing notices. Town of Riverhead, notice of adoptions. Town of Southold, public hearing notices. In the Village of Southampton, ZBA adjoining neighbor notification for 111, 137, and 153 Pond Lane, Southampton Village. Liquor license applications and renewals for the listed entity and financial disclosure statement filings from the listed individuals. Land use application from the Zoning Board of Appeals for 3016 Noyak Road, Noyak. The following bid openings took place on April 5th. Request for proposal for Riverside Maritime Trail Park. April 18th, electric portion final phase of Nathaniel Rogers House. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Okay, thank you. What I'd like to do is make a motion to walk on a couple resolutions so that everybody knows that they're on our agenda. These are three resolutions. There's 29315, which is warrant number 8, capital 8, CPF number 8, and payroll liability. And then 29325, which is a notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 283, special events to prohibit the use of unmanned aircraft systems during special events. And the last one is 29327, rescinds Town Board Resolution 691 of 17, which authorized the lease with Elite Towers LP to construct a cell tower at 30 Club Lane in Sag Harbor.
Second.
All right, seconded by Councilman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so we had the 4 we needed. In fact, it was unanimous to walk those on. We may do one of those out of order. All right, so let's go now to public portion. I have a number of cards. I'll call your name, though when you get to the podium, please repeat it for our records. Each speaker has 3 minutes to make their comments known. The clerk will let you know when you're down to your last 30 seconds, I'm sorry. So Ellen Ruby is the first, followed by Kevin Tier. Ellen, if you'll step over to the podium.
You say I have 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, I better talk quickly.
Okay, so I'm here regarding the resolution about putting the cell phone tower on Wildwood, on Club Lane in Noyak. I live at 26 Club Lane in Noyak. The proposed cell phone tower is going to be at 30 Club Lane in Noyak. This is the middle of a residential area, and just according to my property map, it's 62 feet from my house. If you put a 140-foot cell phone tower up, if it tips over, it will crush me. It will probably crush Lindley, who's right next to me. It will probably crush the town barn, but that's not what I'm starting out to say. What I'm starting out to say is that Article 27, Wireless Communications Transmission Support Structures and Antennas from the Town Code, says, the Town Board of the Town of Southampton hereby finds and declares it to be the public policy of the town to minimize the visual and environmental impacts of wireless communication facilities in the process of allowing for adequate and non-discriminatory wireless service throughout the town in accordance with the Federal Communications Act of 1996. To achieve these goals, the town of Southampton shall, by way of this article, seek to promote wireless facilities that are compatible with surrounding land uses and that protect and retain the attractiveness, health, safety, general welfare, and property values of the community by establishing standards for the location, siting, design, and vegetative screening of communication antennas, communication buildings, towers, and alternative transmission support structures. Saying that, I'd like you to realize that your idea of putting a cell phone tower in the middle of a residential neighborhood is crazy. I can't understand how you could even conceive of the idea. Did I use 3 minutes? I'm sorry. Okay. No, I was just saying that I think the whole idea is just beyond my comprehension, that I could look out the window and see nothing but this giant tinker toy right in my backyard, that the property value of my house will be diminished to this much. Nobody wants to live next to a horrible structure like that, not only emanating probably harmful rays. We don't know for sure, but we know for sure that it certainly isn't going along with your own code of not putting things in residential areas.
30 seconds.
I'm looking for the rest of the code that says that. But it specifically says that you are not allowed to put avoidance areas. New wireless communications facilities shall not be located in the following avoidance areas. E, existing single-family dwellings in residential zones. How can you possibly consider putting a tower there in the middle of a residential neighborhood? It's surrounded. I have a picture,
3
actually,
minutes.
of a house that sits right at the top of the wall of the Kelly's Path sand pit. It's right on top there. The tower is going to go up and be right in their faces. That's all. I mean, I'm sort of, I think I've read the appropriate parts of the code that are being violated, not to mention the fall zone part, which I'm not sure, the 140 feet it was supposed to be the height of the tower. But the fall zone gives you a little equation, and the equation doesn't suit the 140-foot tower falling over because it only gives, I think, I don't know, a couple of 100 feet. But this tower will fall and fall right on top of my house. It's too close.
Okay, thank you. So let me just give a little bit of background and tell you where we are, because I know there's a number of speakers who want to talk on this. And the town understands that there are pockets of poor reception, that it's tough to dial 911 or to make any cell phone call. And so the town code sort of favors municipally owned sites, and the town was looking to evaluate municipally owned sites for their viability, just simply doing kind of looking at sites, how high would they have to go up at that site, what might it look like at that site, where was it necessary, where had the least community impacts, negative adverse impacts. And there were, I think, 4 community sites we were looking at. For somehow this Club Lane, though, the town authorized the actual lease of the property, whereas the others, that step was not taken. So tonight there is a resolution that rescinds that, so that there is no actual lease. The town still will be doing this evaluation, but not necessarily moving forward on anything until we've had a good deal of public input. We've figured out what is absolutely necessary and what is the least impactful way to achieve that. And Jim, I know you have been working on this.
Yeah.
I actually had a question about that walk-on resolution that rescinds the resolution that authorized me to sign the lease.
Right.
But does it also rescind the signed lease? Does it allow us to terminate that lease?
Yes, I mean, that's what we're looking to do, is to actually rescind the lease itself, and then to...
I know Elite had no objections to us backing out of that lease, ending that lease.
They're not, and they know that it's all subject to all the planning board approvals, and the construction, the final construction would be subject to the town as the lessor of the property, so they're not looking to try to force anything that the town or the town...
So will this resolution
don't
that's
want.
before us tonight make the lease that was signed null and void?
Yes,
It
that's...
takes away the authority. In addition to that, we're also working, just so all of you know, in connection with our cell phone tower policy. Moving forward, we're trying to work in there better ways in which the community has notice of what's going on as it's being proposed, because I know a lot of people feel as though they did not know that this resolution had been even on in July. So, and we're going to work on that so that there's better notification for the community members that potentially would be affected by anything. Okay?
Okay? And now I know there's a number of other people who want to speak on this, so we'll go through the list. But I wanted you to have that background, so you know that we have a resolution before us tonight that will undo that lease. Okay? So Kevin Tiere? Tiere? I said it right the first time, and then I tried it differently the second time.
Just one syllable.
The E is silent, huh?
I'm just here to follow up. I spoke last time that you met and made my position known against. I'm happy to hear that you're willing to rescind the lease. This neighborhood is full of full-time residents, and beyond that, you know, everyone is very protective of property values and the health risks. And you know, I'm shocked when people say, you know, it's undetermined about the health risks. I mean, in Europe it's not, only here apparently. So, you know, I just think it's, there's plenty of places where there's fewer people. I mean, I don't wish it on anyone, but if there's an area where there's, you know, a quarter-mile clearing in each direction, great. You know, if I've never ever, I've called the police plenty of times because the people behind us, you know, they have fireworks and beagles and howling and all kinds of stuff, and I've never had 1 second of a problem getting a hold of, you know, animal management or the police or anything else. And I know that police-to-police communication, they have their own network. So I don't know exactly who's having a problem getting a hold of the fire department or the police. But, you know, there are dead spots. 114's got one. Your call just immediately is dropped. I've never had any problem in our neighborhood whatsoever. Even on Noyak Road, I've heard people have problems there. I've never had that. I've had a problem on 114, and I've had a problem on Sunrise, driving to school. But that's about it. And I'm just here really to follow up and hear where, you know, where everything is at. And I appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, there may be other ways to achieve coverage as well. I know there's companies that are approaching us that
They have a
put things
DAS
on-
thing.
They put things on the top of telephone, like every 4 telephone poles. It's smaller. You don't even know it's there. So,
Yeah.
but you know, they don't reach as far. But
Right.
that might be able to cover some of the dead spots. I don't know.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dan Weldon.
Thank you very much for agreeing to keep this open and be open as you are. I don't have too much to add. I was actually going to emphasize the fact of that the police, fire, and emergency situations for health have their own network, and that was one of the arguments that was, or thoughts that were brought up with the cell tower in mind. Since then, I've investigated and found out about their own systems. So it really is not a point of that we need this. And actually, last night I tested the cell phone receptions, and usually I hit a dead spot as I turn onto Noyak Road from North Sea, coming this way, no, going the other way. And there's usually a dead spot there for about a couple of 100 yards. And last night it was open. I mean, there was no problem. not saying that's going to be all the time. And the way evidently that these cell phone towers work is that I've been told that the more people that are using the tower, the less effective it becomes. So perhaps that was the original reasoning for bringing this up. I don't know this or not, but I think we have sufficient coverage as it is at this point. That's my opinion, and thank you very much for considering it, not considering it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Elena? Elena Loretto.
Hi, Elena Loretto. You must have read my mind, Jay.
You have a matching patch.
How about that?
That's pretty cool.
Because in an article here in last week's Express, right here, Lawrence LaRose mentions that exact thing you just said with the DAS antennas
Okay.
on top of the
Telephone poles.
poles. So I'm very happy that you're with us on that. You know, certainly that would be more acceptable
Sure.
than a tower in a residential neighborhood. And again, I ask you to please consider looking at the Majors Path landfill site.
Right.
Okay, again, you know, I'm not quite sure what you have to do to get that done, but wow, what a great place that would be, because that's where my cell phone always drops calls.
Well, there may be some people who aren't warm to that idea.
Right.
We'll find out.
But certainly in the middle of the landfill.
But it is much further from any homes, that former landfill site. So it's kind of an interesting spot. But
Yes.
of course, you have to put the cell towers where the coverage gaps
course.
are.
Of course. But, you know, I'm
Might
sure
not
that-
line up with the best sites. I don't know.
Exactly, but I'm sure that you will respect the wishes of the residents.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
there's a few more of these expresses from last week downstairs. If you hurry up and get them, get your
Yeah.
own article.
So as I said,
Thanks,
we were not intending to move forward with any of the four sites we were looking at this juncture. It's just that this one somehow took that extra step, and now we're going to put it back on this, at the same level as the other sites, and maybe we'll add additional sites to look at, and maybe different technologies to look at. So we're not in a hurry. The one issue we will have, and that's like for the board to resolve, is that because this resolution was passed last year, the controller budgeted the revenue, some $200,000, which will not be available. But, you know, that's not uncommon where you gain in one area and lose in another, and we'll sort that out. So we did come in last year with $1 million plus more in surplus than we had anticipated. So I think we'll be able to absorb that.
And anything was subject to approvals, planning board and final approvals, construction, so you probably weren't, even if this was to pass all the tests, it's
Right.
probably a couple of years down the road.
Right. Well, budget documents are, nobody has a crystal ball. So you make assumptions and of revenue. So when you're figuring out how much to collect in taxes, first you figure out what your non-tax revenues are. And that was plugged in, but we're going to be fine. So why don't we do this? Do I have anybody else who wants to speak in public portion who hasn't spoken? I have no other cards. If nobody else wants to speak, we then will close the public portion, and I'll take that resolution out of order. And then you folks, if you want to stay, you're welcome to, but if you came only for that issue, you're welcome to go home. All
Yeah,
right.
Before we
Yeah.
do that, I'd just like to commend the citizens of the Noyak community for coming out and caring about your community. Had it not been for you folks, things might have been different. We do have a resolution here tonight, and we are, as Councilwoman Scalera noted, we're going to be looking at our policies on this as well, so thank you.
All right.
Remove it.
So anyone else for public portion? Going once, twice, three times. All right, I make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we're,
do you wanna make-
wait,
take
you
it out?
guys,
You wanna take it?
don't go anywhere
We're
yet.
gonna vote on it right now.
You don't want to leave yet. We're going to take, oh, you want to, this is the part you've been waiting for.
You don't want to get a phone call after you leave the
You're
building.
leaving too early,
Can I move
You
to,
can't celebrate till it's actually happened, so.
can I move to take resolution ID number 29327 out of order?
Yes, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Don't go anywhere yet. All right, now the resolution is eligible for vote. We're taking it out of order. So do you want to make a motion to approve?
Resolution 29327 is a resolution, it's co-sponsored with the supervisor, and it is a resolution to rescind Town Board Resolution 2017 of 691, which authorized the lease with Elite Towers LP to construct a cell tower at 30 Club Lane in Sag Harbor.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. Anybody else want to be co-sponsor?
Yeah.
You can put the whole board on if
the whole
it's fine.
board should.
All right, Sunday, if
We all
you would
work
add
behind the scenes.
everybody as co-sponsors.
Okay.
All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Okay?
Sure.
Sure. I was going to say, now you can go.
Well, I know this is sort of related. I spoke to Alex Gregors on that he's the superintendent of highways, and I asked him about the possibility of putting up an osprey nest. And do we need to do anything in terms of getting that approved in any way, shape, or form?
Through the DEC.
Okay.
Similar to what happened in Flanders where they had them put up there, but they have to approve that and then they have to get approval through their.
DEC, so that's
The
not...
DEC is a good place to start.
But it would
You can
be on
talk to
town
Mark or
property,
Call
though.
me, I'm happy to, can work on that to make that happen.
Terrific.
We had the same problem in
Ultimately,
Flanders.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Work with John on it.
Yeah. Tommy, John, and I.
You reminded me, that's a little more detail, when I said that the budget had roughly 200,000 in it. I think 70,000 was for highway department, and the balance was for the general.
The osprey
fund.
nest, right?
Yeah, there's some issues, whether there's a
keep
nesting,
you on his
a
subject.
nesting pair there, or how, there isn't, so there's some steps to go through, but not, yeah. Happy to.
Okay, we're going to move on, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kindly. All right, if you can exit as quietly as possible, we'll move along. All right,
You want to start with the regular thing?
yeah,
Good night.
let's go back to the top.
Resolution,
Well, actually, is there anyone else who's here for any particular resolution that they want to take out of
I
order?
think it's in order, but I see the Risemans over there, relative to the Tupper
Which one?
Boathouse.
Oh, the
That's
Tupper
coming up.
Boathouse.
That's coming right up. So if you can wait 10 minutes, a few minutes, okay.
Bill, you're here on which, is there a resolution?
RTW.
RTW, right, so maybe we can do that out of order too. All right, so why don't we do the Tupper Boathouse first? That's the,
Well,
Oh, that's the next one. It's
oh,
number
it's the
two.
second one,
It's
okay.
number two.
All right.
No wonder you can wait.
249, let's, go ahead, Christine.
Okay. Resolution 249 of 2018 authorizes the installation of new synthetic turf baseball fields at Red Creek Park from the Town of Babylon contract with Land Tech Group, Inc. And that's the work session that we had last Thursday.
But this may be a while, I don't know. We'll see, maybe we should have taken it out of order. Let's find out. All right, so
It's co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier.
do you want a second, John?
I will second it.
All right, it's seconded on the motion. So we had a lengthy work session about synthetic turf as opposed to natural turf, clay, infield. I have looked at what I could on this issue, and I won't say that there's no questions, but I feel comfortable moving forward with this project. I think it's going to be a lot less maintenance for the Parks Department. I think that, I'm not seeing the risks to the kids in any way. In fact,
I see less injuries to the children,
less
to be
injuries and
honest.
things like that. So, and I think there are cost savings over the long term, but I guess that could be disputed too. So we will need three. So is everybody comfortable voting? Okay. All right. So there's any other discussion? So motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Abstentions? Okay, so 2 noes and 3 yeses. And it is approved. Okay, so, John, do you want to read the next?
Town Board Resolution 218-404, 2018, North Sea Maritime Center Tupper Boathouse Grant. And this is a grant to help publicize all the good things that are going on and about to go on. And hopefully we'll come to a good conclusion here. I'm looking forward to what happens. So very glad to be part of that. And you were a driving force. And Julie and I met with you a bunch of times, so.
This is a $2,000 grant? This is $2,000 to the North Sea Maritime Center?
Yes, it is.
All
And I'll
right.
second that.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. All right, so.
See, I told you it would be.
Hold on, Tommy. Where's RTW in here? Maybe we'll jump ahead.
33.
All right, let me make a motion to take Resolution 438, it's on page 33, 438 of 2018, Resolution of Adoption amending Town Code 330-248Q RTW Residential Plan Development District to extend the expiration of approval. Make a motion to take that out of order.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so I will make a motion to approve this extension. It's Resolution 438 of 18, Resolution of Adoption amending Town Code Section 330-248Q, RTW Residential Plan Development District to extend the expiration of approval. And this will extend it for, what is it, Jim, 2 years? Or 1 year? Expiration, I should take 2020, February 13th, 2030. So
February
2 years.
13th.
So basically, it's a 2-year extension. For a site plan, they already have site plan, I think. They just would need the substantial construction. You have site plan, right?
That site plan would need to be renewed.
Will be renewed, okay. Okay, and then you'd have to begin substantial construction. Okay, is there a second
On the
on
motion?
the extension? I need a second, at least for the purpose of discussion.
Second.
Yes.
Okay, second by Councilman Bouvier on the motion. Councilman Lofstad.
I'll be voting no only because it's expired and it's been expired a long time, and nothing was done in that time, and although it may be a great project, I just don't feel I can say yes to, because of those two reasons.
What would you like to see there instead?
Well, like I said, I think it's a good project. I guess just procedurally, I'm having a problem with voting yes.
And I get that, but honestly, like, just to say that the issue is procedural only presents a problem because then the process would be then to have a rezoning hearing and then have our town staff come back and suggest to us what they would like to see there. So if there's, I get it if there's something you'd like to see there different, so then you want to go through the process again. I'm just not, I'm not hearing that you think it should be anything other than what it is, so I just want to
Well,
make
I think
sure.
yes, I agree with you. Yeah.
So zoning code wise, the most similar would be the SC 44, which actually is more density and
Less
less
affordable.
affordable. So I don't think this is perfect, but, and a lot of time has gone by, but I do think it does merit the extension. And
I
to
think
give
that-
the individual 2 years in good faith to make this happen. But we do need 4, so I'm a little concerned, do we have the 4? Because if we don't have the 4, we don't have a lot of options, but we could perhaps renotice it if there were a particular change. But can I ask Tommy John, are you voting
Sure.
affirmatively, or?
Well, I'll say this, that this project, I believe, will bring a lot of positive things to the community of Hampton Bays, as well as expanding the tax base, so I am in favor of it, yes.
Okay, and
And
John?
I am also a yes, but I'm not a yes in 2 years if we're back at this point in 2 years. So I just want to put it on notice. We have an urgent need for the kind of project that you're proposing to us, so I'd like to see it happen sooner than later.
And I have to say that, it is kind of form over substance in my mind at this point to say no, because we're not getting anything from staff that suggests that they would like to see something other than what's there be put there, and under current zoning, we would get far less than what you are in fact giving. Having said that, I appreciate some of the comments that were made by members of the Hampton Bays community, Liz Hook and Mary Paisan, who gave us their thoughts, and they were all addressed. I met with them myself by planning staff. Hopefully, for the most part, to their satisfaction, because I think they were valid when they were made. But having said that, I also don't, I'm not getting any indication that this is not the best use for the property and the best zoning right now, even if we were to open up a hearing and have it all over again. So for that reason, I'm supporting this application to extend, but as everyone is also counseling, please make sure it happens in the time frame that we're giving it.
Okay. Anyone else on the motion? So we had a motion and a second to approve. This does require a supermajority. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so it's 4-1, and it is approved. Congratulations. Don't sit on your laurels. You got work to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice.
Back to the beginning.
Okay, we're back to 405, right?
Yes.
All right, so back to the top. Second resolution, 405.
Okay, Town Board Resolution 2018-405. This is to authorize the supervisor to sign contract with Contemporary Computer Services Incorporated, CCSI, for purchase and installation of network hardware components.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 2018-406, authorize the purchase of a sound level meter, LCD, 30 to 130 decibel range for use in code enforcement from the New York State OGS contract with W.W. Granger.
Second.
That's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right,
Phone is on
all right, it was seconded by, I'm sorry?
Christine.
Seconded by Councilman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 407 authorizes the purchase of security services from New York State OGS contract with Summit Security for Southampton Town Hall.
Second.
You can give it to Tony.
Hold on a second.
Did it at the same time.
Oh, I see, okay. Seconded
You can
by
give this to Tony, John.
Councilman Scamoni. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Aye.
Resolution 2018-408, authorize the supervisor to sign community service challenge grants for 2018.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 2018-409, to authorize the supervisor to execute 2018 contracts with Lawrence Indemine,
Indemnity.
Indemnity
Dimity.
Consulting Corporation and R.J. Matuta and Associates for an appraisal for the Community Preservation Department for Sag Harbor Cinema property located at 90 Main Street in the village of Sag Harbor.
All second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 410, co-sponsored with Councilman Scalera and Councilman Bouvier. It authorizes the supervisor to execute a 2018 service and maintenance agreement with Best Climate Control for the HVAC system located at the Central Garage Building.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 411 of 18, co-sponsored with Councilwoman Scalera, authorizes the supervisor to execute a 2018 service and maintenance agreement with Best Climate Control for the HVAC system located at the town's main police headquarters building.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 412 authorizes the supervisor to execute a third-party custodial agreement with People's United Bank.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 413, to authorize the supervisor to renew the town maintenance agreement with MaxVault LLC Document Management Software.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 414 of 2018 authorizes the supervisor to sign 2018 summer instructor contracts for the parks programs.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 415, to authorize the supervisor to sign extension to intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Quogue for operation and management of structures located at 172 Dune Road in Quogue.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 416, to authorize the supervisor to sign extension to intermunicipal agreement with the Village of West Hampton Beach for 11 Glover's Lane and 98 Main Street in West Hampton Beach Village.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 417, to award and authorize supervisor to sign contract with Roadwork Construction Corporation for damage installation contract west of the Shinnecock Canal.
Damage or drainage?
Drainage.
Hold on.
Drainage installation contract.
Drainage installation, yeah. Okay, was there a second? I didn't hear one.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
All right, Town Board Resolution 418, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract with Rosemar Construction Incorporated for the 2018 requirements, contract for pavement repair.
Second, please.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 419, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract with South Fork Asphalt for drainage installation contract east of the Shinnecock Canal.
You guys have to second faster.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lofstad, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 420 awards and authorizes the supervisor to sign contracts for portable toilet rentals.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 421, resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2018 Ford Explorer for Parks Department use.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 422 amends the 18 through 22 capital budget based on debt reduction policy.
Second.
Seconded, okay, on the motion. 'Cause I thought we were going to talk about this in work
After
session.
Len was going to do a presentation?
Right, we're going to get a
You can go back to
presentation. But let's just go through it.
Yeah,
and
no,
if
I'm
there's-
saying
If there's no
pass it
issues,
and
Len isn't coming in to do a presentation, he's away, so.
Good to be Len.
Right, so as you recall, we passed a policy that if we closed the prior year with more surplus than we had anticipated in the budget, that we would use 3/4 of that to offset anticipated borrowing that year. Items we had agreed to borrow for, we would not have to borrow for, so we wouldn't have to have the interest costs on those items. And so we did close out 2017 with a fund balance that was $1,140,000 more than we had anticipated. That's good news. So of that, $774,000, well, actually, no, it's more than that, but $740,000 from the general fund balance and $176,000 from waste management and $190,000 from beaches and marinas. So this is where it's going. $190,000 is going to a governed software update cost center, $50,000 to townwide fueling station upgrades, $100,000 to townwide heavy equipment cost center, shuttle bus cost center, $40,000, equipment cost center, $50,000, comprehensive plan, action item implementation costs, that's the form-based code, secret analysis, that's $200,000, highway equipment cost center, $144,000, waste management equipment cost center, $176,000, and the Ponquag bathing facility cost center, $190,000.
I think this is great. It would, though, like you're saying, now that I'm seeing that, because I was looking at the chart that just gives you the numbers, it would have been nice to hear from Len just how these priorities were made in terms
So-
of which projects got selected.
All right, so I think, because we have various balances in different funds, they have to
Yeah.
go to that fund.
Yeah.
So these are all things that we've already agreed to fund. So I think the bigger question is, what do we do with that 25% that's left over?
No, I know, I understand that we funded all of these things already. My
Right, so we would
question
have
is,
gone out to bond
but there are other
shortly
things
for
that
them.
we've already also funded already. So of the whole pool of things that we've already funded, how are these selected relative to those other things that weren't picked? I don't know the answer to that. That's what,
Right,
it would have
I
been
mean-
nice to know that. It's not,
Yeah, I mean, the only, I guess, difference might be in the, usable, the
the
type of
taxing,
bond.
it might have been the taxing district also.
Well, the
where
taxing district, he's got right, so he had to find
projects within those districts. I just
that
don't know how
added
many
up,
other qualify.
that added up to that number. So, but I think the larger question will be the money that we're not using to buy down debt, how are we going to allocate that?
Can I ask you a
So-
question?
But that's not part of this resolution.
It's not.
That
Can I-
leaves that.
Can I ask a question?
So,
Can-
I was just saying, so the debt reduction amount is 1.140. 1,140,000. So the actual closing surplus had to be higher than that. He's not showing the number. That's the 75% of the number is the 1.140.
Right, and he's showing the difference between the two, how we got there. My question is really relative to the projects that are being targeted for paying down. I think the overall concept is laudable, and I think it's a good policy. And I'm just questioning what didn't make it into that pile of projects, and how are those priorities set? And my suggestion, unless you have an issue with it, is, since we want Len to speak anyway, do you know if he'll be back by Thursday's work session? Because then we could just table this and have a special meeting on Thursday, have him do a presentation, and then vote on it.
Oh, I know they're preparing the bond, so I would say don't table it. We need to.
Well, we can't vote on it, the bonds tonight.
No, but they're getting the bond documents together, so I would say that we probably should not hold off on this, because these items are not included in that bond, because we're paying cash for them.
All right.
So you probably could have picked, you could have chosen some different projects.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm just asking how that
but,
was selected. What was
But
the
it would have the
selection
same,
process?
financially, it would have the same impact.
Yes.
So that, we would be borrowing for,
That's what I'm saying, it's form of, I get it.
We
I
wouldn't be
understand the
borrowing-
concept. I understand the concept. I'm just asking, it would have been nice to have had that discussion, or to know how the projects were picked, just so we know. It doesn't change what we're voting on in substance. The amount is the amount.
right.
It's just, would John have preferred it pay down this amount or that amount? And I don't know whether or not it's really relevant. I'm
Yeah,
just asking the question because I don't know, and it would be nice to have had
Yeah,
him
I
here.
don't
But
think it's relevant. I would say,
Okay.
I would ask that
if
we
you want to
move.
move with it,
I would like to move forward
fine,
with it.
I don't-
Again, the bigger policy question is
The leftover.
the
residual,
leftover
I
and
get it.
how we prioritize that. But
Okay.
these are all budgeted items that we will no longer have to borrow
No, I
for. We
understand
could have
that.
picked others, but either way, the borrowing will be reduced by the
Understood.
exact same amount in the exact same funds.
Understood.
But to Councilwoman Scalera's point, that the board isn't aware of what those might be, and I certainly would like to see that as we move, if we move forward with this, because I don't really have a problem. It is a question
even if
that
we
needs
move
to be
forward.
answered, even
Yeah.
if, I would like to get that information.
Well, we can certainly ask Len how he, went through his selection process.
Yeah, if he can follow
He
up even.
probably looked at the various funds where there were balances and looked at anticipated borrowing within those funds and tried to match up the availability of funds with the appropriate project of similar cost.
No,
There's probably guiding policies within the assessor's office of which to pay down first, like which pay the highest interest rates.
Well,
No,
but the
that's-
fact that we have to.
No, that's not
guess
what
That's
this
that-
not
is,
what
though.
this is.
Yeah.
So we're not paying off
Well-
that, these are things we would be borrowing for this year when we go out to bond, but we won't have to now. So,
And it would be
Okay.
coupled
So
with.
it's debt reduction, it's a
yeah,
policy that we all unanimously agreed to last year, I believe, so, but I think as part of this, it's important that the board see that process. There
yeah,
should be some
the ultimate
transparency in that.
impact for us is that in following years, our debt service will be lower.
Yeah.
Because
and
It's a
we
good
all agree
policy,
with
we all
that.
agree
It's
with
just
it. We all agree
like,
with it. It's a
It
good
would be nice
policy.
to know how that was arrived at.
Yeah, and I would like to move this forward, but I think to have Len into a work session when he's
No,
back.
I think you're
I'm
hearing
fine
we're
with
all
that.
okay with that. It's just
Okay.
moving forward.
Yep. Okay, so, there was a second, right?
No, I don't have a second.
You don't have a second?
Second.
You don't have a second?
Got a minute?
Christine, we have Christine.
All right. So I think,
Now you need a
was
minute.
it John who seconded?
Christine.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who-
I
Christine?
seconded it?
Well, I didn't have you,
I thought John seconded.
Okay,
Oh, no,
that's
I
fine.
don't recall doing
I
that.
think it's for
Tommy John.
purposes
If not,
of,
I
okay,
just-
so then you don't have a second. Who
Okay,
was
where's my
the
second?
I just seconded it.
Tommy John just
I was
seconded.
going to do it.
Just a second? Just a second?
Oh, God.
All right, seconded by Tommy
Wait a
John.
minute.
Tommy John Scavone, Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 2018-423,
We agreed on.
amend the 2018
Wait till we
adopted
disagree.
budget for public safety.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Scalera, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, 424 amends the 2018 adopted budget for Summit Security Officers.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. This is the security, I believe, for the desk downstairs. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 425 amends the 18 budget for parks maintenance.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 426 amends the 18 through 22 capital budget for Good Ground Park.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. That's the
That's
gift.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the money that we received, right?
Right, so we're applying the generous gift from Douglas Ellerman to Good Ground Park so that it can be used for the playground number 2. Had a nice event in Good Ground Park as
It
well.
was really
The
enjoyable.
whole weekend was full of
Yeah.
Yeah,
great
yeah,
stuff.
good,
Weather
good
was
Earth
good.
Day weekend. I'm looking forward to hearing the recap on the cleanup, the East End cleanup.
Me too.
Next work. All right, good. All right, 427 amends the 18 through 22 capital budget for the Ponquag Fishing Pier.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. That's at the Ed Warner Senior Park.
Well, that must be the money that we got back from the FEMA money.
Well, the amendment is, 94,000. Okay, so that's,
There was an
yeah.
increase in the.
Yep.
Came in.
Yep. Good. Okay, 428 authorizes Part-Town Fund pay-as-you-go purchase of noise meter machines.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry?
Oh,
Aye.
All right, aye. Approved. Confusing me. 429 authorizes town control to close capital project and settle loan.
Yeah. Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 430 authorizes town control to close capital project and settle loan. Sounds familiar? It's a different one.
Second.
Seconded
Just different
by
area.
Councilwoman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 431 Flanders Northampton Volunteer Ambulance Company Service Award Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 432 is the Hampton Bays Volunteer Ambulance Corps Service Award Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 433 is Southampton Volunteer Ambulance Corps Service Award Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 434, West Hampton War Memorial Ambulance Association Inc. Service Award Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Resolution 2018-435, appoint Richard and Carol Combs to the East Quogue Citizens Advisory Committee.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 436 of 18 appoints Roy Patel to the Public Safety Commission.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. And by the way, he's involved with the fire department in Hampton Bays, and that seat had been occupied by Jerry Buckley.
Yeah.
You know, so we were hoping to find somebody who would, it's tough shoes to fill, but to come in with that perspective of the fire department. Because as you know, some of the false alarms are fire, some of them are police. And a lot of what this committee does is reviewing the appeals of false alarms. So I'm glad that Roy stepped up. I think he's going to do a great job. Okay, I'm at 437, authorizes the town attorney to settle the litigation of Susan Ralph versus the town of Southampton.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. We already did 438.
Resolution 2018-439, waive showmobile fee for Hampton Bays Fire Department Carnival.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Scalera. Any co-sponsors on that one? I'll co-sponsor. Anyone else?
We can all do it.
Sure.
Sure.
You do the same with the next if you would like as well.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And with everybody as co-sponsors, 440, Christine?
Resolution 440 waives the showmobile fee for the Special Olympic Spring Games, and if everybody would like to co-sponsor, we can
Sure.
do that
And
also.
I'll
Please.
second it.
All right, seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Everybody's on as a co-sponsor? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 441 for 2018 junkyard permits.
Second.
Nobody's jumping out the
I was
co-sponsor?
just thinking that. when I was gonna say it.
That's
All right, we had a second by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. All right, 442, 2018 part-time salaries.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 443, accepts resignation of a records management assistant.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 444, accepts retirement of Bruce Nicholson, assistant labor crew leader in highway.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved, and congratulations to Bruce Nicholson. Best wishes in your retirement. 445, accepts retirement of Joseph McGay, sanitation site crew leader in waste management.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and congratulations to Joseph McGay. Thank you for your service, and best wishes in your retirement. 446, appoints Alonzo Vargas to Animal Control Officer 1 position in public safety.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. Congratulations to Alonzo. 447, appoints C. Teresa Mason to Senior Environmental Analyst position from Civil Service List.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. Congratulations to Teresa. 448, appoints Sarah Pleat to Audio-Visual Production Specialist position from Civil Service List.
Second?
Second by Councilwoman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. Congratulations, Sarah. 449 of 2018 appoints Charles Ranieri Certain to Audio-Visual Production Specialist position from Civil Service List.
Second.
So you had
I think
bunches
we're
of-
all second.
Charlie had a bunch of seconds. Charlie's behind the camera somewhere,
He
so
knows
if you're
who was
watching on
first.
CTV, Charlie is the guy running the audio-visual board there.
And thank you, Charles.
So hopefully the sound and picture quality is okay. If not, don't blame Charlie. It's Altice, you can blame Altice. So it was seconded by Councilwoman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. Congratulations, Charlie. All right.
Well, the camera's still on. I think that's a positive.
All right, Charles.
We wouldn't know if it was off.
All right, 450 appoints Christian Peterson to environmental technician position from Civil Service List.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 451, co-sponsored with Councilwoman Lofstad, authorizes Seth Farrell to attend the New York State Code Enforcement Officials Certification Training.
Second?
Seconded by the co-sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 452, ratifies stipulation of settlement.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 453. 453 is a notice of public hearing on the acquisition of lands of 169 Elm Street, Southampton, LLC, the property Bridgehampton, and amends the CPF management and stewardship plan to include that property.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scalera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 218-454, road review application for Blair Catherine Gaza, Suffolk County Tax Map 90-354-3-30, Situate at West Hampton is accepted.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. All right, to the walk-on packet, I know we took one of them,
It wasn't on there, so.
so we have two more walk-ons. So 29315 is warrant 8, CPF, capital number 8, CPF number 8, and payroll liability. So second.
Second?
Second by Councilman Lofstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. And lastly, 29325 is a notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 283, special events to prohibit the use of unmanned aircraft systems during special events.
Second.
Second.
Motion?
Seconded by Councilwoman Scalera. On the motion, Councilman Bouvier.
So this, I'm trying to understand, you want a public hearing on, I understood, I guess there's a lot to talk about.
So there is, and the bill is not perfect.
Yeah.
I do, because here's basically the situation is the US Open is coming, and the FAA is not putting prohibitions over the US Open for drones, and the police are looking for the town to pass a local ordinance. I wasn't really expecting one to come through that was so broad, that would pertain to all special events. I would rather do something similar to what we did with the rental permit, where we have
Limit
the
the days.
ability to waive or to impose this for special events, and then make the decision to impose it for the US Open. However, we're out of time, so it would be better to hold the hearing, and then we can make amendments to the bill after the public hearing, if we feel that it is too broad. So right now, the way it is written, it basically says from 2 hours before the event to 2 hours after a special event, you cannot fly a drone within 2 miles of the event. Now, my son, who has a drone, might not know if there's an event within 2 miles of where he's flying, and might not know the start time and the end time, and it's I think a fairly onerous, 2 miles is a long distance.
Can I ask a
So,
question?
yeah, so it's not perfect, and my son, I know, does not want to break the law. So,
If the intention is what I thought it was, which was to address that issue, why don't we do similarly what we did with the Open in the context of limiting this law to take effect June 11th and in effect until June 18th? That way it will
Yeah, then
take
we can
care
do it
of that, and then you can take your time and figure
Yeah,
out how you want to handle this as a
That was
policy.
my problem with it, and if we went to public
So that way we don't
hearing-
have to renotice it.
Yeah.
so you can make the law sunset right after
You
the
make it
event?
effect, yeah.
So, yeah, the trouble with the way it's
You can
written
do it
is,
effective and
there's so many
operate it.
minor special events, and if you had, the special event was, let's say, a bike, or a walk, or something, well, a bike that's,
The effective date?
a bike event,
can
the
have
special event is
effective.
actually moving, it creates a complication as to,
Operative only, but I would
when
always
and
put
where.
it in the wording.
Was its
What do they
intent
do
safety,
when
or
one
was the
comes flying
intent
over and
to
it's
all right, I'm
protect?
sorry, I have two people talking, John first, and then our
Was
clerk.
the intent to protect copyright images, or was the intent
There
for
was
safety?
there's
or-
public
Safety,
safety
really.
concerns.
Totally
Safety was
safety.
the motivation. It was requested by, as the supervisor mentioned, it's from our.
It really, the only request I had heard was for the US Open.
Yes,
I did
yes.
not know that it was going to be written to apply to all special events. So, I'm sorry, Cindy?
I just was wondering how you enforce that. When it's flying over,
No, and I noticed that there was,
Police can enforce it during that.
in the bill, I didn't see
Yeah.
any penalties. There was,
There's a penalty in a portion of chapter 283.
Okay.
$1,000 fine. I asked,
oh, yeah?
that. But
You know-
it's not changing, so it's not part of this.
But you have, and I know it does, the bill does, and we'll get to this when we have the public hearing, it does allow for exemptions if you have permission. But, there's things like the polar bear plunges, and like people are getting used to the fact that some of these events, the newspapers like to take drone shots, and it's a good way to capture what's going on.
But you distinguished the other event when we were discussing it for the rental permit law by deeming it a regionally significant event, because that's when our security is at its
Right.
most heightened, so maybe you want to make that.
That's
with-
ultimately what I would
also with
love
the
is,
dates.
is the board by separate resolution could impose prohibitions for special events.
For regionally significant,
For any
Well,
event.
whatever criteria that the board establishes, and that makes perfect sense to me. If there's a perceived safety issue that our police department is telling us, then we should consider that specific, and I agree with Councilwoman Scalera, specifically for that event, because it is regionally significant. It may have there may be a heightened awareness of, or import of having that, prohibiting drones. So I look forward to the public hearing.
And even so, CTV's been using drone footage of things too, so Yeah, I
If
want to
we-
be a little bit careful on how we do this, but I think we have to go have the public hearing because we're out of time and
I think
do
that-
our best to fix it.
Because what we're contemplating in the context of making it more restrictive in terms of what it applies to, so it's actually like less onerous, even though it's more restrictive, we perhaps maybe would not have to renotice it, even if we made that change during the course of the hearing,
Right,
right?
right, I believe so.
Yeah, I would have
It's
welcomed a work
possible.
session
Less.
on this.
So I
to-
don't-
I mean, there may be issues as to what extent we can regulate drones. You know, the FAA regulates drones, so, and
Yeah,
even that's been questioned too,
No,
because the laws keep
and-
changing.
and Mr. Harris in my office, we understood that there were some issues.
Over their parks.
There were some issues with this. We understood in drafting this, there was some constitutional issue. We did feel that that time being of the essence, we wanted to have something that
Why don't we just do
would
a
give out.
policy resolution for that event? It is a policy of this town during this event we will not allow.
All right, so why don't we do this, let's.
Set the
let's
hearing,
have
and
the
then we
hearing.
can always
I'm in
come back.
agreement with you.
Yeah.
Right, so, yeah, we have an engineer on the board.
We do.
No, I know that is, you know, the world is changing and, you know, this is really, you know, Amazon's talking about using drones to deliver packages and the technology.
Starbucks should get in on
it's
that.
really incredibly sophisticated at this point. We had 2 drones at the expo the other day, the hybrid car expo taking pictures, so it wasn't a problem. So we'll have to figure this one out, but let's have the
It doesn't hurt to
public
set the
hearing.
hearing, and then we can figure it
Okay,
out.
so,
Public
I
hearing.
seconded it
I
already.
made a motion, Christine, Councilman Scalera, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, so that gets us to the end of the agenda. Is there any announcements, anything else that anybody wants to share? Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.